Incredible jams to start this celebration of the year and of so much more as well. Mitchell, I'm going to give you credit. I know there's more that probably put in input around that music, but that selection was incredible.
I got to give that all to Shannon. I can't believe we're already back here at the Stackies. Like in a way, this year was so fast, but also so long. I know we're going to cover a bit of it today, but yeah, good to see you again.
Good
we're back
to see
at the
you.
Stackies. How about that?
Yeah. Well, and first and foremost, welcome all of you. Mitchell and I here talking like it's just the two of us, but you have all joined in, and we greatly appreciate it. Welcome to Mitchell and my earlier conversation to the Stackies. And this year's Stackies are a very special one. To Mitchell's point, we had an incredibly big year, not just for Stacks, but for the greater Bitcoin ecosystem. That really has redefined what it means to build on Bitcoin and the excitement of what Bitcoin's future will look like from here. And if this is your first time tuning into the Stackies, welcome. It's a ton of fun. We are going to be highlighting everything that's happened throughout this industry and ecosystem over the last year to celebrate the triumphs, the launches, all of the exciting individuals, community leaders, and everyone around the world that have contributed to this growth and this new industry that we are building together around building on Bitcoin. And so for the next hour, welcome, enjoy taking part of all the excitement that we're going to be going through. And we've got a ton of talks. We've got people we're going to be highlight. We've got awards, ladies and gentlemen. We have a ton of awards and prizes and things to celebrate and to give out as well. If you don't know me, I'm Kyle. I am the executive director of the Stacks Asia Foundation and your co-host for today with my awesome other co-host. Oh, this way, Mitchell. Quick intro for you.
Thanks, Kyle. It's good to see you all again. And Kyle, I think this is the first time we've been on a big call since you took the new position with the Stacks Asia Foundation. So I have to take the opportunity to say congratulations. I've seen the whole community be so excited about the work you guys are getting started on. So glad we could co-host as a couple of foundation people now. So this is exciting.
Foundation squared. Here we are, a celebration at the Stackies. And just a quick recap for those who have been tuning in, but also maybe a quick recap of the almost last 365 that we've gone through, because 2024 really redefined, as I noted earlier, the entire Bitcoin industry and really took building on Bitcoin to another level, introduced things like Bitcoin Fi at a scale that we had only been able to talk about in 2023. And now we're seeing in actuality and deployment as well. And one of my favorite facts that you and I have talked about, and many in the community as well, is how much this side of the industry has grown in the last year. This time last year, the entire TVL for Bitcoin, building on Bitcoin, Bitcoin applications, was just over 300 million. Today, year to date, we are over 4 billion and growing. That's a more than 10x growth in less than a year. And in that time, we saw the fourth halving. We saw more than a dozen ETFs globally come to market focused on Bitcoin and then alternative assets as well, including Ethereum, to then Stacks and many others. We also saw runes come to life. We saw the very first verified proofs on Bitcoin. We also saw the launch of some great companies in the ecosystem. We saw the introduction of Bitcoin yields to Bitcoin stacking to the launch of Signal 21, a new data and analytics company in the ecosystem, highlighting on-chain activity. Of course, we saw Nakamoto. Mitchell, I'll let you cover more about that. We also saw the launch of Bitcoin L2 Labs, a core product development company focused on stacks. We saw Bitcoin Fi activate with not just a few tokenized Bitcoin assets, not just WBTC or RBTC or TBTC, but instead a expansive list of over 20 different assets that took us from around 10 billion in TVL to over 12 and now pushing towards 15 plus billion in just a few short months with 20 plus different assets. We also,
one of the other things that I find really interesting about that is you back up to the end of this year is natural, right? But if you go really just a couple months before that, in October 2023, we had our event in London. And that's really when the moment I felt like ecosystem galvanized around Bitcoin layer 2 messaging. Bitcoin layers was really starting to circulate in conversations driven by the work that a lot of the builders in this community were doing. And that you can look on Google Trends, sort of that is the time and place where you started to see a lot of this kick off. We started the year on, on the Stacks chain, for example, with the STX20 team and sort of the Sortinol's idea, is just trying to break the network, reminding us why we all needed Nakamoto. And so I think backing up to that October timeline to think where the whole Bitcoin ecosystem has come since then, all the statistics you just laid out, it's pretty incredible how fast people are building. And I think it's a really exciting validation of like these theses around Bitcoin. And now really less than a year since people could start building, we're starting to see the use cases. You have things like sBTC and dBTC and Babylon, and great work Rootstock continues to do. And but I have to give a lot of credit to this community, I think, for galvanizing the Bitcoin layers ecosystem around some of that key messaging for this year. So absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. The amount of effort that we've seen from builders across the industry and the inflow of builders and developers and the like to the community as a whole over the last year has been transformative. It's incredible to watch. I mean, you may mention names like Babylon, throw a Lombard in there as well. We also have those like Stacking DAO, Bitflow, Hermetica, Alex, Valar, and so many others in the Stacks ecosystem that changed the game when it comes to the idea of Bitcoin utility as well. Even on the network side, the beginning of the year and even back in that October timeframe last year, there were still only a handful of networks that were publicly in the picture. Fast forward, we see the rise of many Bitcoin layers. We see the progression of new Bitcoin layers outside of Bitcoin coming to and helping to unlock Bitcoin across other ecosystems. I was fortunate enough to be on stage just recently talking about this with the Zeus team and what Zeus and Apollo are doing for Bitcoin in the Solana ecosystem as well. And to see that excitement and to see how many different networks and ecosystems want to bring Bitcoin to their communities, and that we get to be a part of that, and the builders that are listening and all those that are tuning in a part of the community have been a part of that and leading that wave to where we are today is exciting, and why we're here at the Stackies. I mean, it's why we're giving out these awards. It's why we get to do this as well. And Mitchell, we could jam all day about the last year. There's so many highlights. We've covered them many of times and continue to do so, but I want to turn it over to you. You and the foundation have put out some incredible campaigns and headlines recently. We just had a big announcement welcoming CoinFlip to Travala yesterday and Fortify to the ecosystem. A few more came out today. But talk to us about the best and the brightest and kind of some highlights of what has happened in the ecosystem over the last year.
Sure. I thank you. I'd even say, best and the brightest is just the latest in a long line of announcements that have come out this year around the phenomenal partner list that Stacks has been accumulating. So I'll back it up even earlier in the year, I think, and kind of start there. First and foremost, I want to give credit to the BD working group. I can't see the crowd chat right now, but I'm sure Rena and Jonas and some of the amazing folks that contribute there, and Andre and others are watching from somewhere. But a lot of the announcements that you see, they obviously start somewhere. Conversations, people like Kyle and others working really hard at events to track the right people down and get connected, and then sort of build something that's mutually beneficial with a lot of these partners. So I will not bore you with the list of all the specific individual partners that were announced this year. However, I'll sort of highlight the progression of the year, I think, as it went. So earlier in the year, the focus was a lot on network signers. And we were really able to quickly break through as the list of investors and other things that were really excited about the Bitcoin layer narrative were they like putting the rest of the industry on notice. And you had players that had never touched really the Bitcoin sphere too directly before, looking at Stacks as a way to onboard to that ecosystem. So I'm going to throw out a few names. By no means do I mean to be exhaustive, and if I don't mention your name, it's all up. But earlier in the year, we got started hot with folks like Block Damon and Near Foundation, DSpread and Luxor, Chorus One, Kiln, Restake, Alum Labs. A lot of the names now you're probably familiar with in the ecosystem who are either Stack signers or sBTC signers or both. But I really we have to give those early partners this year a lot of credit. They helped bootstrap momentum, and they showed others what it was like working with Stacks and the various entities in our ecosystem that do an amazing job supporting these teams. If you sort of fast forward over the there were more listings. We announced Aptos and Solana have plans to integrate with sBTC. At some point in the future, we had BitGo throw down new support for sBTC and things that are upcoming and different assets. Nashville was a big part of that. Big shout out to Shannon for making that happen. We were able to bring a lot of these folks together, finalize these types of deals. You keep moving throughout the year, and there's folks like Anchorage and TokenSoft, and then very own Stacks Asia enters the picture and brought your own set of partners like Hex Trust, and I know they just doubled down with you guys as well, which is really exciting. And then sort of we get into this last stretch of the year where we've been building up for the release of sBTC, and we've been fortunate to add some really exciting players. Kyle, you mentioned some of them. CoinFlip is the #1 Bitcoin ATM network. They'll be adopting sBTC and Stacks. We've announced Anchor just today. Anchor's a major infrastructure player, doing some really interesting things in the world of Bitcoin layers. Fortify, major custody solution for DeFi, especially in Asia. I've pretty much just scratched the surface. I'll have to give a shout out to the stacks.co/ecosystem page if you want to dig through all the different partners. But suffice it to say, the work that's gone this year into the partners, and really when we think of partners, I think it's a lot deeper than just a name and a logo, right? Like each of these partners represents one of two primary things: either a new use case or something that you can do with Stacks that you couldn't do before that makes Stacks better, or it represents a start of a deep integration, a new use case, and a whole new audience that is coming and joining sort of the Bitcoin world and ecosystem that is good for developers. It's good for Mindshare. It's not just good for Stacks as these major players on board, but we've seen those partners then go on to support other Bitcoin forward projects and the startups on Stacks. And so really we've been able and lucky to find partners that are willing to engage deeply and invest, not just at the top line, right, but at the ecosystem level. And as we go into 2025 with sBTC as a baseline for the network, these partners and these startups are going to be really what takes us forward. And so I'm excited for what all the builders are going to do, how they're much more enabled. We had oracles added this year, but in Pith and Dia. I'll stop now, I promise. But we have a lot of amazing people that are now part of this mission through these partnerships, through these announcements. And so it's exciting times for the builders ahead to leverage a lot of what's been put together this year.
Absolutely. And Mitchell, I didn't want to stop you. I mean, you could have kept going. There's
on a roll.
There's so much. And, to your point there's so much that gets contributed in the ecosystem that's seen and sometimes not seen as
absolutely.
well, because we're all moving so quickly and always not able to get together. And a big thank you, I think we can agree on, to the entire community for your continuous support and effort and engagement and conversation and feedback, everything that you guys do out there in the world. We're very appreciative. And today is a part of that celebration as well. Go ahead, Mitchell.
If it wasn't for the community there'd be nothing that these partners would be interested in supporting and coming here to build us with, and that's obviously a big part of that's technology, but in a lot of cases, even a bigger part is the opportunity, the people. And so, I think there's only more ahead. I won't say too much, but there's really great momentum here. There's more in the pipeline. things like stable coins and more oracles and other infrastructure that is just critical for builders. We'll expect to continue seeing that and have another year of inviting phenomenal people to join us on this mission of unleashing the Bitcoin economy.
And more boots on the ground. In addition to a lot of the highlights we've both mentioned, we also did our very first events in Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, Thailand. We were in new markets across the world. Also, LATAM and throughout Latin America, we did a number of events. We have more coming to Dubai as well this year, going into next year. So it's exciting, and you'll see us more, and we hope to see all of you more as well. And so stay tuned to the Stacks Twitter and to many other handles throughout the ecosystem, because we've got some exciting plans both in real life, digitally, and then to the headlines integrations Mitchell teased out as well.
I'll tease Adam's upcoming section here in the Stackies. He's gonna recap. We had 40 different cities activated meetups just for the first step of Nakamoto this year. He'll give the full rundown, but it just a big plus one to that, Kyle. It's so exciting to see folks showing up in person at events, learning how to build on stacks or learning how to contribute in some way, whatever kind of skill set or perspective that you have. So I won't steal his thunder, but we'll get to hear a lot more about both events from this past year as well as a look ahead at what's coming.
It's been a fun year, Mitchell. I'm glad that we've gotten to spend it together and that we get to recap it together today, and looking forward to an outstanding 2025 here in just a few weeks. In closing, anything else you want to say? Otherwise, we're going to keep this train moving, because I'm getting the hook here on
Oh,
our award show.
wow,
Yeah,
on our
yeah,
own show?
I know, right? Right?
No, nobody owns the Stackies. Shannon keeps us in line. This is good.
That's right.
The last thing I'll say is it's sincere gratitude to core developers, to the working groups this year, Herculean efforts to get these major upgrades over the finish line, and love that we can go into 2025 fully focused on growth and building on top of the protocol, building out the ecosystem, building down and out and up. And, for those of you that don't necessarily get to see it every day, there's folks on it all hours of every single day, on the nights, the weekends. I mean, people pulling 20-hour days when that was necessary to get past a certain bottleneck to try to hit these dates and get things done as quickly as possible and safely and securely as possible. And so for the many of those, and of course the builders who are now offering, through the incentive program for sBTC, all kinds of exciting opportunities for the world to engage with Bitcoin in a way that makes sense to them. People have worked so hard this year. It's been, I think we've just unlocked a new level, right? There's not that people didn't work hard before. I think this ecosystem has always worked extremely hard, but the amount of people working as hard on the amount of things this year, it's just a order of magnitude more than we've seen in the past. And we've set ourselves up really well for 2025. So thank you all. I'm humbled, honored to be working alongside so many of you on this crazy thing.
Couldn't have said better myself, Mitchell. And again, I'm lucky enough to be doing this with you, and excited for the journey ahead. And we're going to continue now and start welcoming up some of those individuals that have put so much time and effort behind and in front of the scenes, built some incredible products that we all are using now, and tease us out a little bit more of what's to come. Mitchell,
it's good. Let's get people some awards.
Woo! Let's get out some awards. All right. Next up, Mitchell, I'm going to send you off. I'm going to welcome up, because we're running a little over, so we'll just throw them up on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause wherever you may be tuning in from around the world. And let's talk a little bit about sBTC. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome up Andre of Bitcoin L2 Labs and Tycho of Stacking DAO and Zest Protocol.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are calling in from. Welcome to the fourth annual Stackies event. If we haven't met yet, my name is Andre Serrano. I'm a longtime stacker, and now I'm the head of product at Bitcoin L2 Labs. We are a core development company that's been laser focused on sBTC as well as shipping other upgrades to the core Stacks protocol. It's great to be here today, and maybe I'll turn it over to Tycho. Also give a quick introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great to be here, and very excited to recap on everything that's happened on Stacks. Just quickly, my name is Tycho, co-founder of Zest protocol, which is the lending protocol on Stacks, and Stacking DAO, which is liquid staking on Stacks. And I guess Stacking DAO very focused on Nakamoto, and Zest protocol very focused on sBTC. So yeah, it's been a very exciting year for building out the ecosystem.
All right, Tycho. And so, yesterday was a momentous day in the Stacks ecosystem, a huge moment, not just for Stacks, but for the broader Bitcoin ecosystem as well, right? A lot of work has gone into making this moment possible. So, shout out to all the core developers, all the builders, and the community who have been around for this journey to bring sBTC to life. For those that don't know, sBTC is a one-to-one Bitcoin-backed asset that allows you to use Bitcoin in DeFi via the Stacks blockchain. It works through a technology called threshold cryptography that uses a set of threshold signatures to move Bitcoin into DeFi. And as part of this, we've onboarded a best-in-class group of institutional signers that are responsible for approving this movement of Bitcoin into and out of the network. And ultimately, this enables you to use Bitcoin in smart contracts and DeFi applications and actually make Bitcoin a productive asset. Yesterday, we launched sBTC, and in the first 24 hours, we have received over 563 563 BTC has been deposited into the protocol for a combined TVL of 58 million USD and growing. So this is just the first step, and it is a really exciting time throughout the ecosystem. And next up, we're going to be focused on improving the product experience, working on upgrades to the sBTC bridge itself. We have withdrawals activating in March of 2025. They will be coming soon. And throughout the next year, we will be focused on further decentralization of the protocol to make sBTC more open and more permissionless over time. And of course, with that said, the question is, what can you do with sBTC? What does this really enable? And I'll turn it over to Tycho in just a moment. But the first thing that comes to mind for me is the ability to actually earn yield on your Bitcoin holdings, make your BTC productive. So we spun up Bitcoin is More for the sBTC rewards program. You go to bitcoinismore.org to enroll and start earning BTC and compounding your BTC holdings. The interesting thing about this program is that you can also earn these rewards while your sBTC is deployed in DeFi apps. And I'll let Tycho talk a little bit more about that in a second. So whether you're looking at deploying in Zest protocol, like lending markets, deploying it on a decentralized exchange, Bitflow and Valar and Alex, we even have AI agents that are transacting with sBTC directly on chain. A lot of really cool stuff has been going on across the ecosystem. So again, shout out to all of the builders who are making this possible. And Tycho, as one of the leading builders in the space, would love to get your thoughts. What does this moment mean for you? What are your plans for sBTC moving forward?
Yeah, no, this is now we can sort of finally get started, right? This is what we've been waiting for. But yeah, to be very brief, right? So one, with sBTC today, you can go to zestprotocol.com and supply it there. It's just idle sBTC. It's not being lent out. It's not doing anything, earning 12.5%. So that's 5% Stacks protocol yield, and then 7.5% on top of that as like a celebration to get to 12.5. And then from Stacking DAO, it will soon be possible to have liquid staked STX that yields sBTC at the same time. And that will be launched in January. But if you already want to be part of sBTC, of course, go and mint it, put it on Zest protocol. It's the highest yield in Stacks right now. or stake your STX on Stacking DAO, and in that sense, secure the network of sBTC signers with your STX, which is what it's all about. So very excited about that. And then we carry on, build out the DeFi ecosystem, because it's early days now that the tech is here.
Absolutely. And Tycho, what else do you have coming up on Stacking DAO? I know you guys have been working on some other integrations with sBTC as well. Maybe you want to tease that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned very, very, very briefly, but today on Stacking DAO, if you liquid stake your STX, you basically earn more STX with it. But now that sBTC is live, we can have a liquid staked STX yields sBTC, right? So that gives you the liquidity of a liquid staking token. So you can have a tokenized representation of your stacked STX, or you can borrow against it on Zest Protocol, all these kind of things, and earn sBTC yield at the same time. And this is coming out in January. So still being audited. We have to sort of see a bit how it goes with the sBTC caps as well. But then in January, you can earn sBTC yield on Stacking DAO.
Awesome. And of course, so far with sBTC, we've been really focused on growing TVL as our North Star metric. And now this is starting to come in. Tycho, I'd love to get your thoughts on how do you see the DeFi ecosystem on Stacks evolving when we look out over the next year? I know we talk a lot about building liquidity and seeing on-chain and activity really start to increase. What does this mean for you? What's the kind of the broader vision there that folks should know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all about the velocity of sBTC, right? Because the promise is that, it's programmable so it can move more easily. So, you'll start to measure how fast does this sBTC move and how well is it actually used, right? And basically the two pieces to that are, one, trading, right? So it needs to be, have very deep liquidity on dexes like Alex, like Valar, like Bitflow. That's going to be a really big focus, right, for the Stacks ecosystem coming up. And then as it becomes tradable, you can then also borrow against it more easily, right? Because to be able to borrow against it, the borrowing lending protocol needs to process liquidation. So it needs to have that liquidity on chain. So once there is trading liquidity, you can then also start to have leverage liquidity, right? Or to be able to borrow against the assets. And that's, what we're all about with Zest Protocol to enable, because, at the end of the day, next to trading BTC, the main use case is to borrow against it, right? Or to earn yield on it. So those are the three core use cases for BTC: trading, borrowing, and posting it as collateral. And yeah, that's what we can finally do now.
Yeah, and it really does seem like there is a flywheel effect there where each of those pieces, each of those steps sort of feeds into the other, right? You need to have deep liquidity on DEXs in order for the lending protocols to be able to tap into that liquidity and process liquidations. And so each step in this process is ultimately feeding into the other. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. Yesterday was just the start of this, and it's been great to see the excitement in the community, the TVL starting to grow again, seeing that 60 million TVL coming in within 24 hours. I think there's a ton of momentum that has been built there. And yeah, now it's time for us to start scaling that across the broader DeFi ecosystem on Stacks and Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm not sure if we're supposed to round off already or if I should take it up. And because I know there's this very scary timer that I see that I'm not sure the audience sees, but it's flashing red.
Yeah, we have a timer that says to cut us off, but nobody's come in to tell us it's over time yet. So Tycho, I think we can keep on going until we get the signal.
Then we can just keep talking about sBTC. That takes off a bit of steam. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what to look forward to, right? I mean, this AI stuff I also find quite interesting, right? Just kind of outside of DeFi, which I think people kind of know about by now, right? But there is this this whole wave of AI agents. So definitely, AIBTC.dev is very interesting to check out. I think they've already done some AI to AI sBTC transactions, and so yeah, that's one thing I'm also extremely excited about. So I see that Kevin has messaged us to sort of slowly wrap up. So AI and DeFi, make sure to check it out, and make sure to get that 12.5% yield on your sBTC on Zest. But
All right, I think that's a great note to close it out on. Tycho, thank you for joining me here, and thanks to everyone out in the community for tuning in. We'll call it here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Tycho. Thank you, Andre. And hello, everyone. My name is Adam Hahn. I'm the head of community programs at the Stacks Foundation, and I am super excited to give you an overview of all the community highlights that transpired this year in 2024. So I'm going to start things off with a recap of the Nakamoto workshops. The Nakamoto workshops were an initiative that we wanted to see the community truly run with. We provided the material and the resources where community leaders in over 60 cities worldwide took that material and educated and onboarded developers who might not be familiar with Stacks or building on Bitcoin. And these developers were onboarded into the world of building on Bitcoin with Stacks, smart contracts on Clarity, what sBTC means for the world of Bitcoin, and what the Nakamoto upgrade truly means for the world of Bitcoin. So these workshops were held in the spring and the fall of this year. We surpassed over 60 cities in several different countries, touching every continent except for Antarctica, and reaching over 2,000 attendees in person worldwide. And one of the reasons we were able to hit such impressive numbers there was the rise of the Stacks Latam chapter. So Angel Espinoza and Jonathan from Peru, they really sort of stepped up to take on this massive undertaking of building a presence, building a true community throughout the Latam region. And throughout the year, the Stacks Latam chapter, they covered 30% of those workshops. 30% of those total workshops were all held in Latam. They were all translated into the Spanish language. And so this was the first time where a lot of the programming that we do around educating developers on Stacks technology was actually introduced and taught into a language outside of English. Aside from the workshops that the Stacks Latam chapter held, they also did a Spanish-focused Stacks boot camp. That was a multi-week boot camp. 20 plus graduates finished and completed that boot camp. They held a virtual hackathon this past fall with over 150 participants that launched 15 projects from that hackathon. And the first ever Stacks Hacker House was the conclusion of the hackathon. So the Hacker House was held in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in conjunction with La BitConf. And we had builders, we had educators, we had members of the Stacks ecosystem and a bunch of developer advocates be there in Argentina to meet and greet a ton of new developers in Latam at this Hacker House. The next thing I want to do an overview of is all of the builder activations that took place this year. So throughout the entire year, this was the year we had the most hackathons in any other year. So we had 6 hackathons this year. We held a Ready Layer 2. We held a Havathon in the month of April in Boston. We did a consensus hackathon in Austin in May, the Latam hackathon that I mentioned. There was a Stacks and EZA Harvard hackathon that took place in November, and then a no-code hackathon that just recently concluded just a few days ago. So from all of these hackathons, we've seen 125 new projects launched, and we had 800 participants that actually competed in all of these different hackathons. So these are numbers that are much higher than we've seen in previous years. Definitely something to celebrate from all the builder activations. And that wouldn't be possible without the partnerships that we've been able to work with different education partners that helped us reach these new milestones. So teaming up with the Learn Web 3 team helped us reach 2,000 new developers in the Learn Web 3 program. And we also passed 100,000 developers in the EZA app, being the top Bitcoin track in the EZA app amongst all other protocols in the Web3 industry. And then the last thing that I'll touch on is a newer program that didn't really exist much more than a year ago. We rolled out a university program. So this was something that was truly spearheaded by the community. There were many people who had contacts at different universities worldwide, and they raised their hand and said, I want to bring a Stacks program, a multi-month program, to a local university and teach college students what it means to get started building on Bitcoin with Stacks. And so one of the pioneers of this movement was Benaya Tripathi, who is the founder of Builders Academy. They held their second cohort in Nepal with 35 students this year. Griffith University held their first Stacks Bootcamp that was led by Stacks Australia and by Gordon Christian with over 40 students. And then very recently, the University of Greenwich held a program that reached over 100 students that was hosted by Christopher Perceptions and facilitated by the Stacks London chapter. So very exciting recap of 2024. And if any of this is exciting to you, if any of this resonates with you, if this makes you want to get involved, I welcome you to get involved. If you're looking to do stuff in 2025, we'll be doing a lot of the things that I just walked through and even more. So you can visit stacks.co explore/events if you want to learn more about all of the events that are going to be taking place in 2025. They will be listed there. And if you want to host your own event, and if you want to build your own in-person Stacks community, you can visit stx.is/WNCQNM to submit an application, get in touch with us, and talk a little bit more about what your vision is for building your own local Stacks community. I'm super excited looking ahead to 2025, and I can't wait to hear from you, and I look forward to working with you all. Thanks so much, and have a good end of year.
Good morning. Welcome to the Stackies. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. The Stacks community is a vibrant network of builders and creators, and we invite you to dive in to the innovation and building on Bitcoin. Again, I'm Zero. I haven't told you that yet, but I'm Zero, the co-founder of Zero Authority DAO, and I've been a part of the Stacks ecosystem since 2019. It's exciting to see the new and familiar faces in this cycle. It's so exciting with the energy in this ecosystem, and I feel we're all fortunate to be a part of it. I can't forget that Bitcoin is at an all-time new high, 108,000 USD. Hey, hey, hey! Really exciting times for all the builders and everyone in crypto today and Web3. Lots of innovation happening. And without further ado, I'd like to present a few awards here. Which individual or dev team in the Stacks ecosystem is the best technical builder? I have witnessed this individual helps the entire ecosystem and has built an amazing protocol that's important to all of us all. And the winner is Bitflow Dylan from Bitflow, and congrats to second place Koa with Stack City Protocol. Amazing job, Dylan and Diego. That team is just full of talent, and we're so appreciative for Bitflow. Which individual or team in the Stacks ecosystem is the best community builder? This individual has pushed the new communities on Stacks to new heights, and he brings everyone together. And I'm so fortunate to call him a good buddy in the Web3 space. And the winner is Rubes from Rubes and the Leo community with the incredible STX tools. is providing new insights into the Stacks ecosystem for all community members, driving several community efforts. And it's been a pleasure to watch him operate and bring everyone together. And this next award, which individual or team in the Stacks community is the most inspiring thought leader? There are so many people in this category that we could award, but this individual remains steadfast advocate for decentralization and a relentless innovator, pushing the boundaries of what's possible on Bitcoin. This person is always fighting for Stacks and for Bitcoin and building on Bitcoin. And it is my great pleasure to announce the winner of the most inspiring thought leader goes to Muneeb. Congrats to the OG Muneeb. Shout out to Jack Bin Switch running up for second place, and a big shout out to Tim for all the great updates and all the other people who have been really important in this ecosystem. And we cannot do this without any of you guys. This community is important to all of us. So thank you again, and with much gratitude, thank you. Take care.
Hello, everyone. This is Off My Lawn from Zest Protocol, the head intern, the head meme guy, the head Twitter guy, customer support, janitor, various other things. And I am here to present a few awards. Very, very excited to be here. Very excited to share some awards that these amazing people have won in our ecosystem. I don't know if I could match what Zero did. He's a great speaker, and he announced those awards with great poise. So I will try to match that. We're gonna kick it off here with the Stacks Meme Master. I have been told that this is a very, very tight race. It was a very tight race. We got a lot of amazing meme masters in this ecosystem. Some amazing content, very good laughs on the Twitter feed. But without further ado, the winner of the Stacks Meme Master is STX City. Well deserved. This man literally brought pump fun to Stacks. I mean, what an amazing product. We all love it. We all love gambling on meme coins on it. It was a very tight race between myself and Mr. Wagme, another amazing person who is fantastic at putting out the PSYOP memes. But yeah, Koa's STX City has created a meteoric rise in community tokens. We've seen hundreds of amazing tokens come out of this, meme tokens and whatnot. But yeah, it was an amazing thing that he built, and excited to see what comes next from him. Up next, which individual or team is making big moves at the intersection of Bitcoin and AI? This one I feel is very well deserved, and it goes to AI BTC Dev. And I've actually spoken with this team before. We had them on the Zest Hall community call previously, and they are just an absolute team of chads. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but they made the first sBTC transaction between AI agents, which is just absolutely insane. So congrats to AI BTC Dev. They're absolute pioneers in this space, and just crazy excited to see what comes next from them. Moving on here, what is your favorite Stacks project of 2024? We saw a lot of amazing Stacks projects come in 2024. We saw a Stacks all-time high in TVL as well. And that goes to Stacking DAO. Of course, it goes to them. They have the #1 TVL on Stacks. They're building a truly incredible piece of technology, liquid stacking, and which you should take your STSDX and deposit it on Zest, but that's just me. But they're one of the main drivers for creating a thriving DeFi economy on Stacks. And it was a pretty tight race between STX Tools and Velar. They were third and second place, respectively. I got one more award to crack out here, and I personally like this one a lot, and you guys are going to find out why. Which project do you think we should definitely watch in 2025? That goes to the Zestiest protocol on Stacks, Zest protocol. Zest protocol, they launched sBTC yesterday. You can earn 12.5% on your BTC, which is absolutely insane. It's an incentivized campaign right now, but we got a lot of exciting things cooking up and couldn't be more honored that Zest protocol was picked for this category. But I believe that is my time. Oh, a close second and third were Velar's Perp Dex on Stacks and Bitflow's Runes AMM on Stacks, which I believe they literally just launched during this call. So go to Bitflow's Twitter, retweet their announcement tweet. Super cool product, and I can't wait to try it out after this. But yeah, thanks for having me up here and looking forward to another great year on Stacks.
Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Welcome. My name is Eurogamer. I've been here in Stacks since 2020. You might have seen me around, and it's with my pleasure to present you the winner for the community, the community member who has had the most impactful, most positive impact on the community. And the winner is Rubes. Congratulations, Rubes. He's a true legend. As you all know, you can see his work in public. He's everywhere in Stacks. He's rallied community member behind Deck Screen, which is going to be a pretty big unlock once we get listed. Obviously, heading up the Stacks tools and much more. So well deserved. And many people who's also had positive impact on the Stacks community. You'll know who you are. And I'll just mention a few of my favorites, I guess. Triple Monkey, Jack, Staxy, Good Kitty. Yeah, so many people. I think it's not just one single person who makes this community great. And for the next category, I'd like to present the most devoted degen. And the winner is Jack Binswitch. Jack, you are the liquid best degen in Stacks, who is so positive, a true leader in the space. Your work on Root token is just pretty incredible. And it's not just a Stacks token, it's actually a one token as well on Runes. So it's pretty incredible how you bridge the gap between Stacks and Bitcoin, and obviously, you have a chat developer with you, Ian. So you guys make an amazing team and truly critical part to cultivate the memes culture leading on Stacks. And for the next category, I'd like to present who is the most active Ordinals contributors from the Stacks community. And the winner is Megapond and Megapond. So obviously a very close race between the Megapond team and Trevor Owens and Ken from Xverse. The Megapond team has taken a win here, being the #1 Stacks NFT, having Megapunk Ordinals collection, now working with Pizza Ninja on Ninja Pets. So truly well deserved, bridging the gap between the two ecosystem, making Stacks heard.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elena. I'm from the team at Hero. And at Hero, if you haven't heard of us already, we're proud to be members of the Stacks ecosystem, and we build developer tooling for Stacks as well as other Bitcoin layers like Ordinals and Runes. And I get to present the following 3 awards. I think they're the last 3 awards of the show. And these are all kind of honoring the power devs in our ecosystem. So the very first award is for the developer who does not sleep, who ships kind of the most code or the most work done out in the open. And this was a tight race, but the award goes to Philip from Arcadeco, Stacking DAO, and Stacking Tracker. Across all his projects, he does not sleep, and he has shipped amazing products day in and day out throughout the year. So congratulations, Philip from Stacking DAO. The next award is for the most helpful data-driven tool, and in a transparent, open, thriving, blockchain-based ecosystem. We don't have access to reliable data 24/7. And so the winner of this category, the most helpful data-driven tool, goes to Signal 21. So congratulations to Signal 21. Honestly, who hasn't used Signal 21 nowadays to track activity on Stacks, and not just on Stacks, but across several Bitcoin layers. So congrats to that team for constantly shipping and rolling out great new features and great analytics and dashboards. Okay, next award, just moving right along. We are going to highlight the most vocal and supportive signer partner in the Stacks ecosystem. As many of you know, we have 44 signers in the Stacks ecosystem, and that number continues to grow. But we want to give a special shout out to the signer who has stood out for being the most vocal and supportive. And this award goes to Block Damon. So congratulations to Block Damon. Thank you for showering the Stacks ecosystem with a lot of love and support throughout the year. And we look forward to the year ahead, seeing how more signers join the ecosystem and more people kind of step in and play an active role in the consensus mechanism for Stacks. Okay, last but not least, this was kind of a wild card. In the Stackies award, people were asked to name the person that they think of when you think who deserves an award as well. This is kind of like the wild card category, or the People's Choice Award, if you will. And this person was nominated by the community for helping out so many people in Telegram, the broader community. He's a true all-star. This award goes to Werner. And those are all the awards that we have.
All right. Congratulations, everybody. An exciting rundown of awards. And again, congratulations to all the award winners and to all of the nominees and to all of you in the community that continue to support, voted, and took the time as well. A big thank you to our presenters, Elena, Hero Gamer, Off My Lawn, and Zero Authority, who are incredible community members that also continue to donate their time and support each and every one of you, which is exciting to see, as Stacks also, to a point Adam made a little earlier, is the fastest, actually the 7th fastest growing developer ecosystem across Web3 right now, which is exciting and a tribute to all of the community efforts across the board. That said, moving into our next talk, ladies and gentlemen, please, a big round of applause. Welcome the one and only Muneeb to talk to us about the Bitcoin L2 opportunity. Muneeb, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. First of all, congrats to all the community members who won these awards. I feel like this community is so special. This is what Stacks is all about. And I think it's very, very hard to replicate this community. And I really mean that. I mean, these people have stuck around through multiple bear markets at this point. And I think imagining where we have already reached, I think it was a pipe dream a couple of years ago that we were thinking that we'll have like fast transactions, or we'll have network capacity boots, or we'll have 100% Bitcoin hash power, or we'll be able to deploy Bitcoin into Stacks. And now literally like all of those things are true. That doesn't mean that, our work ends here. I think in many ways, the different pieces are just coming together, and we're going to double down on the speed and momentum and the velocity of how quickly we build stuff and sort of like ship it out there. And that's going to be amazing. But in the end, I feel like it's the community, it's the real builders, it's the people who actually believe in the vision and stick around with it. Like in crypto, you see like projects come and go, right? Like they're hot for like a minute, maybe a year, maybe two, but only very few of them actually stick around with real momentum, real traction, building real products, and actually believing in something. And I feel like what we believe in is actually becoming more and more true. I can't imagine like more than $50 million of BTC already came in the last 24 hours. It's coming in a decentralized way from everywhere, just like how this ecosystem is. So I think I had one thought from yesterday. I'll just share it with people. It's not anything like super insightful, but sometimes we're just like so in the weeds that we sort of like forget what is it that we are building or what it could become. So yesterday I was actually having a conversation with somebody who's not in our industry, doesn't even understand technology that well, and I was going on and on about how I haven't slept, and I'm like this big thing is happening, and they're like, "What is this big thing?" Like, try to explain. I'm like, "Okay, so this is what's happening. We enable people to deposit like this Bitcoin, and there's some yield they can get." And they're like, "How much is the yield?" I'm like, "It's 5%." And they're like, "Well, that's a really good yield," because people are used to in their bank accounts, like they don't get anything like in their savings accounts. And it's in Bitcoin. It's like, yeah. So they were like, "Why wouldn't everyone just put their Bitcoin there?" I'm like, "Well, you're taking some risk by trying out a new system, right? Like, so you're the early users and you're getting rewarded for it." And very quickly they started thinking that why wouldn't all the Bitcoin move in there? I'm like, slow down, right? Like, first of all, the yield is limited. Yes, there can be more yield because there are DeFi applications and you're making Bitcoin productive. But I think the core idea that sort of like stuck out was they sort of get that passive money just sitting there is sort of like going to waste. And why wouldn't everyone want to get some sort of a yield, right? So they started thinking like, hey, look, Bitcoin is so big, like it's trillions of dollars, and a lot of it that is going to pour into stacks because of this. If you guys really enable this in an open way, decentralized way. So that was one thing. Again, I said it's not insightful, but it's like sometimes talking to normal people and seeing their reaction for how big they feel like this thing is. Like that's very interesting. And the second thing was when I was describing how let's say Manhattan becomes very crowded and people can't drive there, and we built like a highway right next to it, which is cheaper, faster, and you can use that instead. And then again, I was describing the difference in speeds. Like Bitcoin, I showed them Bitcoin blocks, right? Like 20, 30 minutes, and showed them stacks blocks, like every few seconds they're going through. And then the same reaction, like, why wouldn't all the Bitcoin just move on there, right? Like it's cheaper, it's faster. And they're like, and then they started asking us, like, how would you make money? I'm like, well, we don't really make money out of it. It's open infrastructure. But anyone who holds like stacks is actually a stakeholder, right? So if the gas fees people are paying more gas, anyone who holds stacks and locks it actually earns. And they're like, this is a big deal, right? Because in their mind, it's like a lot of Bitcoin is actually just going to move on stacks instead of like other places. And there is a built-in economic model that if you're a believer, if you support the network, you sort of like lock up STX, you have this income coming in, not just from the BTC rewards, from base inflation, but actually the gas fees are the real thing, I think. And I think that was that I don't know, it just made me, that interaction like made me sort of like realize that what we're working on might be bigger than even we realize, because we're so deep in the weeds. Like we are working on very specific things, and sometimes we miss the big picture that Bitcoin is going to be this huge thing on the planet. And if we are the largest sort of like layer on Bitcoin, I think that's a very, very big deal. With that, I'm just going to stop here, and congrats everyone. This is really a collective effort by everybody.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Alex Miller. I'm the CEO of Hero. For those of you who don't know me or Hero, we are a dev tools company for the Stacks ecosystem. So we spend all day, every day thinking about how we can try and help builders build all of the best applications in Stacks on top of Bitcoin to give all of our wonderful users everything they love about crypto built on top of Bitcoin. So we've done a lot this year, but actually what I want to talk about a little bit is what's coming in 2025. Obviously, this year has been an absolutely massive year for Stacks. Yesterday was incredible with the launch of sBTC, the launch of the Nakamoto release a month and a half ago at this point. It's been a huge year of progress. And one of the things that's really set for us in the developer tooling side and thinking about what's coming next is just how much we've heard from builders. They need the ability to scale things up, to have a tighter integrations to Bitcoin, and to run their apps easier. So our focus over the next year is going to be on all about that stuff. Bigger, better, and more Bitcoiny. So first up, we have a brand new refresh of the Stacks Explorer coming to you guys. We'll be kind of rolling that out progressively over the next few months and things. But I think the thing that's going to be really cool there is that it's going to so well show the tight integration between Stacks and Bitcoin, especially with Nakamoto now. How you have multiple Stacks blocks inside a single Bitcoin block. You can already see that. There's a really cool live display if you want to watch that. But we're going to be showing that off even better, show off token pages in really nice ways. And again, just make it generally more easy to see all of the different DeFi tokens, connection to Bitcoin, while also, of course, performance, right? One of the key things you want as a user out of an Explorer is really good performance, fast loads. So all of that's going to be coming. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And on the builder side, you're going to get new versions of almost all of our tools. There's new, actually, version 7s of stacks.js that just came out. We've just added new API endpoints that are available for folks and continue to scale that up. But coming next year, we're really going to be doubling down on a lot of those hosted and infrastructure services for you. So whether you're a builder who's just getting started and needs to get started quickly, like you can immediately start using our API. But if you're running a huge application or you need to index the entire blockchain, we're going to be helping you there too, with way higher tiers available for the hosted versions of our APIs, probably even offering a number of different custom node services and things. So whatever it is that you need to do, again, the thing we've heard over and over again is we just want it to be really easy to use the massive amount of data that exists inside a blockchain like this and get up and running really quickly on it. So if you ever have any questions or any thoughts, I'm obviously on Twitter. Our team is always in Discord if you're a builder and want to get in touch, need help with anything. Ryan and Eric, our DevRel leads, are amazing at that. Our engineers are happy to get in touch and help you out. And we always just want to hear from you. What is it that you're building? What is it that you're excited about bringing to the community? And how can we help you do it? So thanks you all so much for the amazing building and everything you've done to make 2024 such a success. Can't wait to do even more of it with you next year.
Thank you, Alex and Manib. So excited about 2025 as we're now celebrating what an amazing year 2024 was and how much the community has continued to contribute and all that they have done and what has been built, but even more excited of what is to be built and to come next year in just a few short weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Stackies. The 2024 Stackies have now been completed. Again, congratulations to all of our winners, our nominees, and to every single community member out there for all that you have done and all that you continue to give to be a part of this ecosystem and this entire industry that we're all working on together. Very excited to have shared the year with you and looking forward to a very exciting 2025 together. That said, before I close out, we'll see you at the after party. That's right, the Stackies Awards after party on Twitter. Feel free to join us. We'll have a spaces open here in just a few minutes, and we'll continue conversation with other community leaders as well that you might not have heard from today as well. That said, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Thank you very much, everybody. And again, congratulations and see you next year. Take care, everyone.